What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out one of the most powerful phones that we got in 2023 and also one of the most beautiful looking phones that we got in 2023. I absolutely love the way this phone looks and feels. So this right here, it's called the Redmagic 9 Pro. This is a phone that's powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 that's paired with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of internal storage. This is also one of the first phones that got this chipset. Now, for those of you that like benchmark scores, this is the score that we get on the Antutu benchmark. So this is the highest score that I've seen up until now. And I feel that every year and every Redmagic release, I say the same. That phone gets the highest score that I've seen up till that moment. So of course, this is the case for this device as well. And this is also the score that we get on the Geekbench 6. So if you're looking for a phone that's really good for gaming, for video editing, or basically any graphic intensive task, this phone will do amazing because it is an absolute powerhouse. Now, of course, with all that power, you also need really good cooling, and they have that covered with the actual fan inside the device. So there is a fan spinning inside the device that will keep the device cool. Because what happens with a lot of these powerful phones, you start playing a game for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then the phone gets too hot and thermal throttling occurs. Well, that's not going to be the case with this one because the phone can keep itself cool for a longer period of time than most other phones out there. So a big plus if you're playing a lot of games, if you're doing a lot of graphic intensive tasks on this device. The design of the phone is also pretty amazing, and that's why I said this is one of the most beautiful phones that I've seen this year. So I absolutely love this flat design that we get on the front and on the back of the device. So with this device, we don't get those ugly camera bumps anymore. So the back of the device is totally flat. I absolutely love that about this phone. And on the front here, as you've probably noticed, we don't have a cutout for a camera. However, there is actually a camera under the screen. Now, these are a couple of pictures that I took with that front facing camera, just in case you're wondering how pictures would look from a device like this. Now, I don't think the pictures are gonna be as sharp and as clear as a device that actually has a cutout, but I'm willing to give that up so I can actually have a nice smooth screen so I can watch videos, movies, play games without having that ugly cutout in the screen. So for this kind of phone, I am willing to give up that great quality for that front-facing camera just so I can have the massively beautiful screen. So this is a 6.8 inch screen that has a resolution of just over 1080p. The screen is also covered by Gorilla Glass 5 and it has a refresh rate of 120 Hz. I absolutely love the viewing angles on this screen and the colors on it, and it does get bright enough for most situations, I'm gonna say. Now, this doesn't get as bright as a phone like a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, just to give you an example, but you can still see this even outdoors on a bright day. Moving on to the phone's frame, I guess this is part of that beautiful design that I mentioned earlier. So I absolutely love the frame around this phone. Now at the top here, you're gonna find a 3.5mm headphone jack, so you can plug in some headphones. We also have an infrared sensor, so you could potentially use this phone as a remote control. Unfortunately, there is no app that comes pre-installed, or I didn't find the app that comes pre-installed to control that infrared sensor, but there are a variety of apps that you could potentially download from the Google Play Store. Now at the top here we have a speaker, and we also have another speaker at the bottom, and I guess next time I'm gonna play a short recording just so you can hear how those dual speakers sound like. And as you've heard for yourself, those speakers sound really good on this device. Alright, moving back to our frame. So at the top and at the bottom here we have two shoulder triggers, let's call them. These are customizable for different games, so you can actually customize what each one does. These also have LEDs this time around. I don't believe that the previous phone had LEDs. And we also have some more lights on the back here. So you can have those lights on whenever you're playing games, whenever the device is charging, and so on. The fan also has some RGB lights as well, so you can change those colors there as well. Then we have the gaming mode button, we have the power button, we have the volume keys and the holes for that fan that I mentioned earlier. And on the other side of the frame, we have more holes for that cooling fan. Moving to the bottom of the device, here we have the SIM card slot. The device cannot take an SD card, so keep that in mind. Buy the version with enough storage so you don't actually need to use an SD card. We have the USB-C charging port and the second hole for the second speaker. Now inside this device we also have a 6500 milliamp hour battery. In the box you're also going to find the 80 watt fast charger for the device. So of course it supports 80 watt fast charging. So charging this device from 0 to 100 is done in about 35 minutes. There is also an option to have the device plugged in but not charging. That's important mostly if you're playing games, because if the device is also charging it will get hotter. So you can have like a bypass sort of thing whenever the device is plugged in, and this way it's not charging, so the batteries inside it are not gonna get the device hotter. So a very cool feature to have. Moving on to the back of the design, I absolutely love this design that we have for it. I believe that this comes in 3 colors, but I feel that this is the best color to get for this device. I mean, if you do like whitish looking phones. So on the back there we have a couple of cameras. We have our main camera and an ultra wide camera. Next I'm gonna show you some sample pictures that I took during the day around here, and I also have some sample videos. So the maximum recording resolution for this device is 8K. However, I do recommend that you record in 4K with it because the video stabilization is good in 4K, the videos look smooth and so on. So I'm gonna play some pictures. I'm gonna show you some pictures that I took with the device, and of course I'm gonna show you some sample videos that I took with the rear camera and the front camera. Alright, we have a quick video sample done with the Redmagic 9 Pro. For this recording I'm using the main camera on the back of the device and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. As you can see for yourself, I am walking and also trying to keep the phone as steady as possible. I'm gonna stop here. We're gonna pan left slowly, so kind of towards the sun, and back right. So this is how a recording done with the main camera on the back of this device would look like. You can also do 4K at 60 frames per second, and you can even record in 8K. And just in case you're wondering how the front camera would capture video, so the maximum recording resolution for the front-facing camera is 1080p at 30 frames per second. That is a bit of a shame, but that's what we get. So this is how a recording done with the front-facing camera would look like. Keep in mind that it is a bit windy out as well, so you may hear some wind aside from my voice. The device runs Android 14, and this year we get a very light skin on top of that Android 14, so I do prefer this experience compared to the other operating systems that Redmagic used to have on their previous devices. So the device definitely feels smoother now. It basically feels more grown up, I'm gonna say. Now, for those of you that are wondering, yes, you can actually watch Netflix in HD on this device. I know that I've seen that question on some previous Redmagic devices, so I figured I'll answer that in this video. But basically, any application that you're gonna use runs extremely smooth. It doesn't matter if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, or if you're playing any game that you can think of. So you can play Call of Duty, PUBG, any game that's available in the Google Play Store at the maximum graphic settings that you can have. The device can handle pretty much any application without any lag whatsoever. I mean, this is what this phone was designed for, and it does that beautifully. As for the gaming mode, well, as you'd expect, everything is extremely customizable. So you can customize everything from performance to GPU settings to the screen recordings of those games that you're about to play. I did notice that even with the default settings, so I left it exactly as the phone comes out of the box, playing any game is pretty much better than on any other device. I typically win most of those games just because the phone is so much faster than anyone else that plays the same game at the same time. So that gaming mode definitely helps if you're into customizing your gaming experience. Of course, that fan can be on, it can be off, you can change the colors and all that. So a lot of customization for that gaming mode if you're into a lot of games. So to quickly conclude this video, the Redmagic 9 Pro here is way more than just a gaming phone. It's a phone that has a beautiful screen, it has one of the most beautiful designs that I've seen. It also gets really good battery life, it has really fast charging. Now the cameras are okay, I'm not gonna say the cameras are the best cameras that I've seen, but decent enough for this device. We get a beautiful screen, it even has an in-screen fingerprint scanner. So this is a lot more than just a gaming phone, not to mention that in most situations this is actually priced lower than most similar phones for performance. So you can typically find this phone cheaper than, I don't know, like a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra or even a regular Samsung Galaxy S23, but you do get a lot more for your money with this device. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.